Oh, that's well played. Karate Kid yourself for that one, Funkhauser.
Oh, it's too hard still.
There you go.
I swear at some point I'm going to make that easier.
Yeah, sometimes, it's only something that's
I'll
been
talk to
part
the
of the show
producer
for the last 6 months or so. Okay. Oh, no talent, one word or two. That's very, very good. Have you noticed that Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are breaking up? Like, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, one of, like, the most solid, stable Hollywood marriages, and people are just like, nobody can make it in this business except for Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson. They're still married. Have you noticed they're breaking up? Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't even really know he was together.
I think it has to do with their son Chet Hayes. I think everything was fine until their son Chet Hayes, because like they had that other kid, Colin Hanks, that was in a couple of funny movies in the early 2000s. Like he was funny. He was chip off the old Hanks block, and everything was fine. But as soon as this unmitigated D-bag Chet Hayes comes along, I think they've got like drug problems, horrible rap music, just an awful, awful human being. I have to imagine that's the straw that broke the camel's back in their relationship. It's like, our son is awful because of you. No, our son is awful because of you. And I would imagine that their son, Chet Hayes, if you're listening, which, I'm guessing you're probably not, but Chet Hayes, if you're listening, you are the kids are told not to blame themselves for their parents breaking up. You are the reason for your parents getting divorced. You killed their marriage. You're an awful human being. Just be clear on this. You've ruined lots of lives. You suck. Chet Hayes, you suck. Go on.
FIFA head Sepp Blatter, all English words, has resigned amid a massive corruption scandal.
Yeah, we can only speculate on his next move. Massive corruption scandal, you say? Sounds like he'd make a great NFL commissioner. Go on.
A new poll finds that more Americans now view Hill Dog unfavorably.
Yeah, I mean, look, these things can change.
She spammed me, bro. I'm out.
Oh, really? You got the...
I want to get a free sticker. Sign up for a free sticker. And now 3 times a day. Hillary needs you. Hillary needs you. I'm like, I already have a mama who emails me less.
But Hillary needs you means Hillary wants you to make a donation to her campaign.
Hillary needs your money.
Right? Yeah. It's all just begging for money. It's just online panhandling. It's just like, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Rand Paul keeps emailing me asking me to contribute to his, I kid you not, money bomb. He calls it a money bomb. Or the people that write his crap for. I wonder if he reads these emails that go out, because it's like, Rand Paul, I mean... screw it. Let's just talk about potential presidents. We've got so much news to get through, but I think we need to talk about potential presidents and how we are effed. But, I did. Look, there are so many potential candidates, and there's just awfulness in each and every one of them that precludes me from being able to feel like this is someone I could pull the lever for. This is someone I could vote for. Hill Dog, the tide's rapidly turning against her. Like, she could do no wrong a little while ago. And now the entire world is sort of going, I don't know if I really like her. I don't know if I really trust her. She seems weird. She seems like she's on a crazy power trip. I don't know. Yeah. And she does have some legitimate things legitimate skeletons in the closet that could come back and haunt her. There's all the weird financial dealings right around the time that Bill Clinton stopped being president that she had to go to court for. There's the whole Benghazi thing that's been coming back with a vengeance, and the whole deleted email stuff. Why do you delete your emails? Because you got something to hide. And, that has really sort of I think dented the armor that is the Hillary Clinton hair helmet. It has a noticeable nick in it now because of everything that she's been put through over the last. And these things can change on a dime. You never know. It's like football. Any given Sunday, who the hell knows what's going to happen? But all the folks on the right, and I think my ideology and. I never, and if you've listened to the show for any length of time, you know that I don't call myself a Republican. I don't call myself a Democrat. I'm in the me party. I do what feels right to me based on the direction true north of my own personal moral compass. I know what that is. I know what feels right to me and what doesn't, and I'm not going to knee-jerk myself into some particular political party with an increasingly meaningless name. And just so we can be clear here and we can illustrate how meaningless names to political parties are. You know, John F. Kennedy, who's sort of like the savior, the patron saint of Democrats. He's held up as just being this incredibly virtuous, amazing man. You know, like on the right, you have Ronald Reagan, and on the right, you got Ronald Reagan and Abraham Lincoln. Those are like the Republican heroes, I suppose. Those are the Republican martyrs. And on the left, you got JFK. JFK had a big problem to overcome when he was running for president. He needed the black vote. And as a Democrat at the time, it was almost impossible to get the black vote because you know what a Democrat was? A Democrat was, if you wanted to discuss a stereotypical Democrat and what the perception was, a Democrat was someone that lived in the dirty, dirty South and was very likely a member of the Klan. That's what your commoner garden Democrat was, as recently as the time John F. Kennedy was running for president. Yeah. So he did a little PR for Martin Luther King, got the black vote that way, assured that he was not a member of the Klansman sect of the Democrats, but it was an uphill battle for him to not be perceived as someone that would burn crosses in people's lawns. That was a Democrat reasonably recently, and that is why political titles and political party names are more or less absolutely meaningless.
Sometimes you just know you're done. You're longing for that shining sun. You walk these streets most every day. You're waiting to get washed away.
iHeartRadio puts the spotlight on Tom Petty. Despite tension between band members during the recording of 1985's Southern Accents, the album was another hit. The controversial video for Don't Come Around Here No More also won the first Best Video Award at the VMAs.
Don't come around here no more.
After the Heartbreakers' Let Me Up, I've Had Enough in 1987, Petty formed the Traveling Wilburys with Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne, and Roy Orbison the next year. The group released 2 platinum albums, with Handle with Care becoming their most successful song. Petty released his first solo album, Full Moon Fever, in 1989. It was a multi-platinum smash, featuring the iconic hits I Won't Back Down, Runnin' Down a Dream, and Free Fallin'. The Heartbreakers reformed in 1991 and released the hit Into the Great Wide Open. However, after Petty's 1994 solo album Wildflowers, Lynch left the Heartbreakers and was replaced by Steve Ferrone. The revised lineup was featured on the 1996 soundtrack album for She's the One and 1999's Echo. All things Tom Petty, info, music, and more are on iHeartRadio. Keyword Tom Petty.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Jimmy Page to talk about when he first became a studio session musician.
I think I was about 16 the first session that I did. That wasn't repetitive. It was at the point when maybe I was 17, 18, that I became sort of a trusted friend within the recording industry, where I was being asked to do sessions day after day after day. And I did sessions with the Kinks, the Who, Can't Explain, the Rolling Stones, not the Beatles.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Jimmy Page and all your favorite artists.
Delivering fascinating subjects, interesting talk, and boobs and fart jokes. AD on iHeartRadio.
So yeah, as you and I were discussing, the field of presidential hopefuls is packed. But there's a lot of chaff and not a lot of wheat. I say, and we just discussed why it's almost meaningless to identify yourself as a card-carrying Republican or Democrat or Libertarian, like all these names mean absolutely nothing. And the names morph and change, and the parties morph and change. So best to keep yourself free and easy to follow your personal moral compas's true north and not declare allegiance to a particular political party. They want you to do that, you know, not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but they really do. They want you to have a set it and forget it mentality toward voting. They want you to be like, well, I guess I'm a registered Republican and my daddy was a registered Republican, so I'm going to vote, full Republican ticket straight down the line. That allows them to do whatever the hell they want with that party and just go, oh, we're Republicans. We know we can count on your vote. Yeah, just blindly go in, yank the lever for all of us, and no, don't do that. Don't be a part of that. Don't feed into the fatal flaw that is our political system. Each candidate is a human being with their successes and failings very much on display as we come up to the run, as we come into the run up to election. And I would vote the person, not the party. I know it's a tired piece of rhetoric at this stage in the game. I vote the person, not the party. But, yeah. That said, I would say that I tend to lean just in terms of my ideology. I do not care for the execution of the ideology. I would say I tend to lean a little bit right. And that's my personal experience. I don't know. I wasn't big on taking any kind of a handout, and I worked hard, and I pulled myself up by my own bootstraps, and I navigated the choppy yet beautiful waters of Reagan's vision of laissez-faire capitalism, and I made something of myself in this world. And it's just because it worked out for me, I think that's how I tend to lean. I'm not trying to piss on anybody else's beliefs, but for me personally, that's how I tend to lean. But what's so disappointing to me is that all the candidates on the right, they're Bible bashers. And if there's one thing that I do blindly come down very firmly on, it's the absolute separation of church and state. Just the level of corruption of everything that is good when you combine the two of those things together. The level of integrity that leaves the room when you put religion and politics together, just staggering. And I could do probably about 10 hours on the separation of church and state and why it is vital for our survival. But bottom line is, the disappointing thing about the entire field of presidential hopefuls on the right is that they're all Bible bashing in an attempt to win that sort of knee-jerk, God wants me to vote Republican vote, of which there are plenty, and that's why they're kowtowing to it. I think Rand Paul, I think he's doing it to try and make his way through the primary and actually become the Republican candidate. I think he's just ass-kissing to the religious right. And hopefully, if he does get the nomination, he dispenses with that and starts acting like a normal, sane human being that recognizes that if you really do believe in all the small government tenets that he bangs on about over and over again, then, you need to keep the church the hell out of politics, and you need to keep the politics the hell out of the church. But, Republican presidential hopeful Rick Santorum. Remember this guy? Yeah. It's interesting because, he is the first to try and get the religious vote. He is a holy roller like you wouldn't believe. And you'd think that a holy roller like Rick Santorum would have the decency, and he is a Catholic, to, if he is in religious ass-kiss mode, you'd think he would be a little cooler about the Pope. But no. Rick Santorum has gone on the record saying he thinks the Pope should shut up about climate change. He's a devout Catholic, yet he has the unmitigated hubris to be like, yeah, I'm Rick Santorum, and therefore I think I've got a few things straightened out that the Pope doesn't. The man who, in your religion, of which you are so devout, the guy who's supposed to have the closest connection to God on the planet, in your little world, Rick Santorum, you're like, yeah, whatever. I think he's kind of being a bit of an idiot. What does this tell us about Rick Santorum? It says he's a hypocrite, first and foremost, that he's not actually religious. He's just, he is religious because he sees great profit in presenting himself as such. I think God is his path to power and riches. But he recently went on the record saying that the Pope should leave science to the scientists.